Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Just Saying. Thank you for joining us. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, then welcome back. Um, also, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can know when we upload another video. So, today's topic is going to be on Jayland Walker, the 25-year-old from Akron, Ohio, who died last month as a result of being shot by the police there over 60 times. So, what we're going to talk about today is was it justified? We know it was overly done, but that's what we're going to discuss today. Like, the why. Just why. What do you think about that, Weedy?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me start off by saying we do give our condolences to the family members. And this is not a bash me thing on here. So we're just talking about it. We're just discussing it and sharing it with ones who haven't heard about it and things like that. So, okay. Well, I'm just going to say, with starting off with the officers, to me, which I thought that was overkill. It said that they recovered 26 bullets was recovered from his body, and that was from the autopsy report that was released, and it says actually shot more than 60 times, and they also said that his that the bullets do go in and they'll bounce off of something and they'll come back out, making it look like it is more shots fired into him. So, but I'm not disputing that right there. What I'm disputing is to me, it was overkill. That was a lot of firing going on. Now, the other part is when I watched the video many times, when he's running in the dark, jumps up the car, and he turns around this way like this, back to the officers. And me being a cop, if I was one of them, I'm going to think right off the bat, he's got a gun. He's got a gun. And I'm going to probably use my weapon, to protect me so I can go home that night. So, but it took, I think it said it was like 6 officers. 6 officers laid off into him. And I don't know if they all thought the same thing at the same time. Maybe that's why they all.
I think they were pissed about the previous day. Because everybody doesn't need to shoot at one person like that. Like they're at a firing range or something. Like, really, he was down. Why are you still shooting?
Well, look at it like this. If he turns around like this, like he may have a weapon, and there's 6 of us running after him, each and individual person is saying to themselves, he's ready to shoot me. The other person saying, he's ready to shoot me. So they all fired, thinking that more than likely, and I'm not trying to take up for what had happened for them, but it's that if they were all individually thinking my life, then they're all going to let off. But after I would have seen a couple of guys. No, I'm saying after I would have seen a couple of guys shooting, I probably would have laid off then at that point. When I fired, then I hear multiple gunfire shots, I'm probably going to lay back. I'll lay off then at that point. But I think it was still overkill, regardless of how you look at it. That was just overkill. I wasn't trying to make no excuses for them, but because you really don't know what these officers was thinking at that time. I know it's bad. I don't think Jayland shouldn't have did what he did, which was turn around. Actually, he shouldn't even let it chase in the first place, and he would probably still be living today if he would not have let that chase. And it was just an infraction for him, them to stop the car, and that's sad. It's just sad, that he had to lose his life when it was just a pulling over of his vehicle
Right.
for infractions. I mean, that is
Hmm.
sad. And he's young,
I think
young,
one of the
you know.
things that
So
really baffled me is I didn't understand why he had the ski mask on when he got out of the car. I don't know
that's
about
another
that
thing.
because when I looked at the video, I was like, wait, does he have on a ski mask? So I was still trying to figure that
Wow.
out. But and then I also didn't know
Well, it
that
ain't cold.
that the police could shoot somebody in the back.
No, I think what it was when he turned around. That's when they were authorized at that point. When he turned around
But
this
he was
way,
still running
that
though. He
was
was
it.
still running.
Even and still running, but turning around like that, what's getting ready to happen. You know, I mean, I don't know what the young man was thinking at that time. And like I said, y'all, I'm not trying to take up for nobody. I just hate the actions
Right.
from the young man's side. Instead of just jumping on the ground and been done with it. Um, and the cops, I just be dang. That's a lot of
But you would
bullets
think
going into somebody.
with all of the things that have been going on with the police officers, they would try to be more careful with things like that, because it's always somebody recording
But careful
somewhere.
can get you
And
killed.
so I think you would think
Careful
they
can
would
get
try
you
to be
killed, though.
more, careful, with that type of thing, as far as, yeah, okay, it's six of y'all pursuing him. It's six of y'all. So why does everybody have to fire rounds? He was on the ground, they were still shooting while he was on the ground. So that's why I didn't understand. But maybe that's what he want. I don't know. Because if you turn around and make that gesture, I mean, but who's to say that was the gesture that he made? It
Yeah,
could have been a middle finger. So
yeah,
yeah, we don't
it
we
could have
don't
been,
know.
but
I think
that.
they were already pissed because of what happened the previous day.
Well, it says with his fiance, you know, a recent death of his fiance, so we don't really know what kind of mind state he was in, which kind of explains some of the stuff. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's a possibility. Maybe that's what he wanted to happen. Who knows? I'm not saying that is. I'm saying, but that's a possibility. He might not have been in the
Mm-hmm.
right frame of mind. You know, and maybe he was ready to be with his loved one. You know, and it's sickening. And now they're saying that they have these lawyers. Everybody been lawyered up, of course, and the officers are on paid
Mm-hmm.
leave right now, and they have lawyers now, and I'm guessing the argument now um, is the overkill, and also is it justifiable because he didn't have a weapon in his hand. But I'm thinking in the courtroom they're going to show him. They're going to pause it and they're going to play it in slow motion how that young man turned around with
Mm-hmm.
his arm out like this because they don't know what's in front of him. So when you turn
Mm-hmm.
around like this fast, man, it's a split, you know,
Mm-hmm.
thought. Oh my goodness, you
Right.
know,
Right.
he for the shoot. So you let loose, and then you find out that there's no weapon. Then you're like,
Right.
man, here we go
Right.
again. See, why did he do that? Why did he do that? I wouldn't have stopped,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Um, but nobody knows the mind frame of these officers. I don't know the officers. Maybe we'll find out who they were before, this happened, background wise, because
Right.
every cop ain't a good cop, but it's that's bad when you got six of them, and he
Yeah.
couldn't have been six bad cops.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. But like they have caught some officers, not being in their right mind, you know, not liking a
Yeah.
certain race
Yeah.
and things like that,
They don't
you
factor
know.
in,
Um,
things like that. Some people just think just because they are an officer of the law and they wear a uniform that they're always right. And that's not the case. You would be surprised how many people think
right.
that. I went to jury duty one time, and that was one of the questions, and it just amazed me at how many people raised their hand that said that they would readily always believe an officer or a person in a uniform over a civilian.
Mm,
And I'm like, wow, out of everything that's happened, really?
yeah. Well, the officers not the same
No.
officers we used to have, or at
Yeah,
least in my
everybody's
state, at
not
least
officer
anyway,
friendly.
back in my city.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wish they were. You know what I'm saying? And it's so well. You know what's sickening or what's so sad about this is because you every time there's a shooting of a black man, it's a white cop behind it. Not saying that that cop is racist because, but it's going to put the focus on him immediately on what happened. And sometimes I even think that even if the young black man, let's say, had a weapon and the white officer shot him, it just seemed to make me think that it doesn't even seem like it's going to make a difference if
Yeah.
he's got one or not. They're just going to march and do all this extra stuff, and all that. I just hate it. You know what we have to do? We're going to have to start looking into how many Caucasians are being shot, by white cops or black cops. We're going to have to do a little
Yeah,
thing on
do a
that
little
and get the
research.
statistics on that. Yeah, because I would like to see that because you don't find that in the news. You never find that in the news. If a white guy gets shot, shoot by a cop, you're not going to hear that immediately at all. It's going to be local news. That's it. You know. But when it's a black man, it's national news. So which is not good because the only thing they're doing is just fueling people's anger around the nation. You know, I stopped tripping about it because actually this stuff has been going on
But
for
just think about it.
ever.
Just think about it.
You
These
know,
cops, whenever they do go to trial or whatever for this, do you ever wonder, like, I wonder what would happen if they were found not guilty? I
you know
already
what's
know
going
what's
to
going to
happen,
happen. And they know that as well.
which is kind of bad for the officer because I don't think he's going to get a fair trial. To me, is what I'm saying, is because they don't want their city burned down by factions.
Yeah.
I'll just say factions. I'm not going to name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. And some other people too. But then again, I'll put Antifa out there because I don't give a shit about them. Um, yeah, because they come to your city and burn your shit up. You see what I'm saying? They should even be in the damn city, put their ass out. But they start shit up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They start us up. We already hot. But then they pop up. As soon as somebody busts a window, it's on. See? So don't let them people come and burn up y'all shit, y'all. Interrupt y'all shit. And then they go back home
Mm.
and don't even get jailed. See? So,
I'm looking at this,
but
and this medical examiner says that she counted 41 entry wounds.
yeah. And so now you're thinking where to get the 60 part at. See? And like I said, the man said that these bullets go in, see, and they bounce. They come out and making it look like it's, so many shots, which is terrible. But that's still 41 entry rooms. That's still a lot. That's a lot. I can see if he had on some bulletproof
It's a
vests,
lot.
like the Uvalde,
Hmm.
boy had on.
And then the
That is
crazy thing
a
about this
lot,
is nobody knows who fired the fatal shot because it
right.
was six. Hmm.
Who was first? Who was last? Oh, and then about the day before, right? They it said that less than 24 hours before in the Akron chase, a supervisor there called off the pursuit when the car crossed the township border with
Hmm.
Akron. See, that's when he got away that one time, and so he already knew he was being looked for. Young man, sit down. Y'all black men out there, sit down. When you got something going on with your tickets or whatever, and you know you want it, stay home until you get that stuff paid off. I know some of y'all already and not gonna pay it, but I'm not saying if you go out there that you're gonna get shot. It's just that okay, but if you do go out, stop, pull over, 10 and 2, wait for the officer to come up and roll your window down early so he can just do what he got to do, and don't get
And
out
you
the
know that
car.
seems to
Just
be one
wait
of the
until he
things that
stops.
people bring up. If you they say like if you do what you're supposed to do when you're stopped, then you don't have to worry about any of this. Do what the officer tells you to do. That's what they say.
Sometimes, sometimes I have heard different some
Yeah.
stories, but not a lot. But some stories that you know they try to comply, but then there's a problem with our youth today. They have no respect for the officers right off
Yeah,
the
we
bat,
already
so
seen what happened with the babies.
they just get to run their mouth. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that
Well,
show not out
everybody
yet.
still saw what happened with the babies, but y'all should check that show out because we did cover that as well. And it
Yes,
was quite
and that
interesting.
should be up in
Quite
the.
interesting, I must say. Yeah, so I
It'll be
think
up in a few
check it
days.
out.
It should be up in a
It's
few
just
days. But yeah, man, that's sickening. It's sickening for us to be so belligerent and just like I don't care, and hell, if you don't care, then you don't care about your life. Now this is not connected with the Jalen thing, y'all. I'm just speaking off
but
on the
listen to
side from
this.
that, apart
The
from that.
fact that after being hit nearly
Mhm.
4 dozen times, officers still handcuffed him while he lay motionless and bleeding on the ground. And they said that's absolutely inhumane. So you mean to tell me that you handcuffed him after shooting him 60 times?
Yeah, sound like that 13-year-old boy that got shot like that, and he was down, and they still
That is
handcuffed him,
amazing.
which would be coming up off. That is some. I mean, it might be protocol still yet. It might sound inhuman, but it might be protocol regardless because he still use his hands to pull out a knife when an officer gets close to him, or a gun in his
I think if he's
you
been
know
shot that many
waist part.
times and he's still able to produce a knife, they need to just let him make it. Just let him make it. If you've been shot that many times,
Stop.
you never done that though. Like, not saying that this is a comparison, but like me, if I'm like killing a bee or something, and if I stomp on him like really, really hard and he's still trying, I let him make it. If you can make it after that, go ahead. I won't even bother him.
Not if in,
But I'm
not if
just
in
saying,
Michigan,
like,
boy.
I mean, after,
If you get caught up
I
in Michigan,
mean,
that's it.
you think he's still gonna get up after 60 shots? They're trained to look at people
Well,
and tell
you
if
know,
they're fatally injured or if they're able to, clear. He was unarmed. He was unarmed.
but with these movies today, shit, boy, you be expecting people like Jason and shit. You know what I'm saying? You shoot him, cut him 1,000 times, and then you still that boy still get up. Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't use
it's
that
just
type of
them
language on
slip
here,
up.
y'all. But hey, man, you put that beef song on too late.
But I mean, this is just a whole. It's just a whole mess in itself, and it seems like lately these police officers have been getting into a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, unexplained circumstances. It shouldn't be happening. You know what? This is how I think. This is me. Okay, y'all, don't get mad, but this is how I think. If you won't be in that position like you are now, if you just don't do the actions that people do to get yourself killed, when it's just something so small, even if you got to go to jail for 3 days, and say, man, at least you got your life. You know, comply. And some of y'all gonna say, well, you know, they do comply and this and all that, blah 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 blah. But there's not a lot of instances like that out there where people did comply and they still got shot. And there's not a lot of stories out there like that. So there's more happening when you don't comply. You're It's more death when you don't comply. I put it like that. And that's just me. I get pulled over, even if I don't have no tickets or nothing. Hey, how you doing, officer? Blah blah blah, this and all that. Yeah, I might still get shot then, because he might not, like me or my skin color or whatever it is. I don't know, but if I do it the way that I, should be doing, because that's where I was raised. Anyway, respect the law, and that's what I do. I got better chances of going home with my life, or living, from that point. That's just me, you know. Some of y'all militant anyway, so y'all ain't gonna care what I say. Y'all just gonna still do the same shit. So yeah, yeah, all that, and that mess. See, we need some more Martin Luther Kings and Malcolm X.
So,
Yeah,
do you think
that's what we need?
some anger was maybe stemmed in that, with the chase from the previous day or whatever?
I
Well,
don't
this
want to
is your opinion.
speculate,
Actually,
but this is real though, because I do think, because that's me. And if this person got away, and I'm not talking about
right?
the story that we're talking about now, with Jayland. I'm just saying, and a person got away from me, and either shot at me prior or that day, and then we had to let you go because you crossed over into another, part or whatever. Again, not talking about Jayland. I'm just using some of the story, So the next time I see you, now me, I'm not going to shoot you, bro. But if I do catch you with you, probably get an extra knee in your side.
Hey, we didn't have enough of the knees. Just use another body part. use another body part.
Right.
Yeah,
the Floyd thing. Yeah. See,
more knees.
But yeah, I'm thinking that it's a possibility that they could have been feeling a certain type of way, like this motherfucker got away, and next time we see him, I don't think they had an intention of like, yeah, we're gonna shoot him down, it was just a situation where it was like, oh shit, he looked like he about to, put me down. So, I want to go home tonight.
Have they identified?
So this is between me and you. Yeah, they know him. That's because they're all on not desk duty, but they're off with paid, leave or whatever you want to call it. So they're still part of the police. But the thing is just, I'm guessing they got to wait until they do an investigation or ends up in court or whatever. They might even just say, let's just pay them out, so we don't have to go through all this, because it's probably going to be cheaper to pay them out and be done with it. But I still don't see how that helps anything either, though. By you paying people out, just go to court, then maybe we can get this stuff, settled out, see what's going on, figure out why this is happening. Maybe you'll figure out maybe there was some cops in there that didn't like, that skin color. You might find that out, so I prefer it to go to trial, but it costs the city so much money. They prefer to pay out the family 10, 15, $20 million when this case could go on for 2 or 3 years and cost them both.
So pretty much, he was shot this many times because of a traffic stop. Like, he didn't rob anybody, he didn't kill anybody, he didn't. It was the traffic stop that he was running away from, and he ended up getting killed. And he did a toxicology report.
It says,
and it came back negative for any evidence of drugs or alcohol in his system. Nothing. And they recovered 26 bullets from his body.
Well, the police said that Walker fled an attempted traffic stop for minor equipment violations and fired a shot from his car. See, that's enough right there. See, that's what I'm talking about. If he hadn't even done that part, the shot part, and just let a regular chase,
so how
without firing.
They know that he fired a shot from his car.
This was the
day
prior
before.
day right there. It looks like that night. Now that night, when they called him up again, and start to chase him, they seen the footage from the highway, a muzzle shot flash, a muzzle shot flash,
Could that
and
be
yeah,
mistaken for something
from
else
the
though?
inside of the car. Yeah,
So it's
yes, it
not
could. That's what I'm
confirmed
saying. They should
that
take this
that
report.
that is what that was. That's just what it looked like.
Yeah, that's what they saying. It was never
Hmm.
confirmed, of course. Um, uh, but that's still not something. I mean, even if
Hmm.
that part didn't even happen, we're talking about the
Hmm.
prior time. Now you're in trouble. Now we got
Hmm.
APB out on you. A man with an arm, is armed, deadly weapon. So when they see you, their hands already is on the the trigger. On their side, they like no, because he's armed and what?
Okay, so
Dangerous. Because
I'm
for
reading
shooting
right
at
here that when his body was taken to the medical examiner's office, he was still handcuffed.
them. You shitting me?
He was still handcuffed. So they thought
Wow.
there could have been a possibility that he was still raised up from being shot that many times.
Boy, I'll be damned.
And then just like I said
Whew.
before,
Now that
that
part right
I
there
thought you
is what
couldn't shoot people in the back. And they said 5 bullets entered his body from the back. But that doesn't mean he was running away. He could have twisted.
which is what it did
Well, when
look
you
like
turn
from when
around
he
like
turned
that,
around
that
like this.
exposes your front. These bullets were in the back.
I think he went side from what I was looking at, he went sideways like this. But getting fired at immediately like that, them bullets would turn you around anyway. The first two, well,
Well,
first
you
one
still
probably
ain't
would
gonna be
turn you
running
around,
after that. You still not gonna be
and
running.
well, from what I looked at, he was still running a little bit there, and then he fell down, and I couldn't tell
So
because it
so
was
many so
that
many
footage
bullets
right there was kind
ricocheting
of
from the concrete. You
blurry.
couldn't tell.
No, no, I was saying from when he fell down on the ground,
They
I couldn't
were.
tell
You
if
could
they
see
were
the
still
bullets
firing
ricocheting from the
at him when he
concrete.
was on the ground. Oh, you might. Oh, okay, well, you got some different footage than I
Oh,
do.
okay.
Yours might be better than mine because I really couldn't tell. That's why I was like, well, I'm not sure, so I couldn't really make really deep statements on that. But I just know only one I got is when he turned around like this, you know, and that was the most part. That's the part they're
So we
going to
don't
play in the
know if that was
courtroom. I'm
like
going to tell you that
he was
now.
shooting a gun. We don't know if that was a middle finger. We don't know if that was a thumbs up.
He
We don't
didn't
know
have a
any of that.
gun.
We're going by
He didn't have a gun.
what
He didn't have a gun.
other people thought that it looked like.
And then, you got to look at it too. It's pitch black out there. You know what I'm saying? So only thing they see is a figure turning around like this with an arm out, which is shows. They don't know. So like I say, y'all, I'm not taking up for the cops. I'm just looking at exactly what I see and what
Well,
I
that's
would have thought
okay.
if I
It
was an
is
officer.
perfectly okay to
I
think
would
that, but you got to shoot that many times.
have.
You already knowing it's
I
six of
wouldn't think.
y'all, so why would you need to shoot that many times?
That's the only really argument I got. You let off into the young man too many times. That's the only argument because I can't take up for what he did. Because if you're wrong, you're wrong. But for shooting off, letting off into that young man like that many
Yeah.
times,
And see, I
I'd
was on
be,
another site that I
you
was
know,
on. They said that those bullets did damage to major organs. But on this one that I'm on
mm-hmm.
now, it's saying that his death was due to blood loss. Well, I'm sure with all those
Wow.
bullets,
I wonder how that.
I'm sure that had some. I don't think that's what that was. That's my opinion. I don't think it was from blood loss. Really. So
Wow. What they say they found a wedding band
they just said it was
was
a
on the driver's
ring.
seat
They didn't say
of his car.
maybe he planned on giving it to her, or maybe he already did give it to her. They didn't say. They just said it was a ring.
What they were saying. I think they just was saying it was a wedding band,
Mm-hmm.
probably like the gold band, the normal one, the basic one, and they just called it a wedding band. Not that he was going to get married,
Mm-hmm.
they just called it a wedding band. So possibility, maybe he was in
Mm-hmm.
that state of
Maybe he
mind,
just maybe he just
when
didn't
he
carry it that
lost his
far.
girl. Yeah, I'm hopefully they go to court with this man so we really can, get
Mm-hmm.
the facts out of this thing, and why the officers fired that many times. That's what the part I'm going to be waiting on. You know, why did you fire that many
Yeah.
times? You see your brother's over here is firing, so you had to fire too. Well, yeah, I had to protect myself. But isn't it enough? You know, four over here, then you two, you and somebody else, you see them firing. That's enough for me. And especially in today, after I would have heard everybody start firing, I would have been like, okay, I'm good. You
You
know what
know,
I'm saying?
people got to
I'm
be
good.
in on a part of the action. Oh, I was there. I was there too.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Me too. I was
That's
there.
crazy. Now you
I
could
was
have been
there.
in court. It would have been better for two or three of them or more not to even fire. But that blood and the adrenaline going and you chasing after somebody, and like I said, the wrong thing I'm thinking is that when he turned around like that, man, I think he knew what was going on, what was going to happen. People that got shot and killed from pulling out a phone, a cell phone, okay, and they thought it was a gun. And they thought it was a gun. People that got killed over a cell phone. I've seen a couple of
So,
stories like that,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
they glared.
And so the family is going to have an open casket funeral. They're going to have an open casket,
Wow.
and they're comparing it to, well, the family decision to show the body reminded some of the choice by Emmett Till's mother. So they're saying, yeah, we're gonna
Hmm.
leave it open so people can see the damage that was done.
Wow. I'm wondering. Well, I'm sure it wasn't all in his upper part here. Maybe,
Hmm.
hopefully, just the chest part. And not any facial. Hopefully.
And you know what?
Um. Uh,
Just an update. They already have had the funeral. So I wonder. Yeah, I'm
oh,
wondering
did
if the casket was open. I don't see anything.
I
No,
wonder if
I
they?
don't see it being open. I can see it right here, and I don't see it being open. So maybe they did it before. I'm not
Um.
100% sure. So
Okay. Yeah, I was looking for him on here, but I don't see it anywhere on the
yeah.
laptop here.
So wow.
That's
So I guess we're gonna have to,
yeah.
yeah, follow up.
Follow
I
up
couldn't
on
think
it.
of follow up to save
Once
my
the
life.
court starts.
Yeah, we're gonna have to follow up on this and keep you guys updated because this is like happening. It's in the process. So they're already arresting protesters.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see where this goes. But in the meantime, we thank you for tuning in to this episode of I'm Just Saying. And again, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you can know when we upload another video. And let us know what you guys think. So that way we'll know. Or you can give us some ideas of what you do want us to cover. Just leave it down in the
Yeah.
comments. We'll take a look at it. And if we decide to cover that one, we'll shout you out and let you know.
I'm covering everything. I run my mouth on everything. I got an opinion on
Definitely.
everything.
In real life too, not just on the
Run it.
So we're gonna wrap up. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. And as always, choose to make it a great day.